Okay. Well, thank you all for coming to our last session of the Student Experience Conference. Wow, it's been a long time now. So very excited to see our last speakers. And our first speaker today will be Xiaoxiao Ren. And Dr. Xiaoxiao Ren is the staff of Administrative and Quality Management Office of Southampton Ocean Engineering Joint Institute at HEU. And she's working for formulating and implementing the quality assurance system of their institute. And she's researching on the localization of the British system. This is the first time for their institute to share their experience. So very honored to be that. Then I'll just hand it over to you now.
Okay. Hi. Can I get started?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen with you.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Xiaoxiao, and today I'm representing our joint institute to share our experience on the teaching quality evaluation system, especially from our student perspective. I managed this presentation with much help from my colleague Zhao Yan, who is the director of our academic affairs office, and a lot of help from our English team, especially Lauren M. Mellon and Simon Woodward. So let's get started. Okay, first of all, this is the first time we attend this meeting, so I'd like to do a brief introduction of our joint institute, and then talk about the aims of our evaluation project. Then I'll show you the problems of our evaluation project done in the first semester. And after this, I'll talk about the modifications we made and how we implement it in the second semester. And the last part is a summary. Okay, as you can see from the photos here, the HEU and UoS had the deep collaboration before we co-formed the Joint Educational Institute. Like we had the Offshore Energy Island Research Project and co-hosted the international conferences and co-formed the IC name and so on. On this basis, we established the Southampton Ocean Engineering Joint Institute at HEU, which is the first Sino-British collaborative educational institute with naval architecture and marine engineering characteristics. And in September of 2020, the first batch of students were recruited, whose average grades of Gaokao examination was 50 higher than the admission grades of the China K universities. Students are enrolled onto a Bachelor of Engineering degree in Naval Architecture and Ocean Engineering, Marine Engineering, Automation, and Underwater Acoustic Engineering. Here you can see from the table that the right words show the 4 programs that we're running now. They're coupling by the first class disciplines of 2 universities. Each of them is with international prestige. And the new joint institute is actually the combination of 2 universities, manifesting the strength of both. Here, the pie chart shows the differences between the fundamental engineering courses under the context of basic engineering education in the UK and in China. I'm sorry, the content is too much to read, but it's not the point. The point is that after we comparing the differences, we realized that the knowledge and the courses are modularized in the UK context. However, for the traditional Chinese courses, it seems more fragmentary. And we listed some characteristics of the UK basic engineering education, including the motivation of every course is industry demand. The orientation is ability training, and the curriculum construction is based on platforms and modules. And the whole engineering education is under the context of the big society. So with this understanding, our goal is to realize the localization of the British engineering education. So we tailored our curriculum for the co-designed programs, which you can see from this train diagram. Actually, this is the big picture of our 4-year curriculum of our 4 different programs. The circle in the middle shows the common courses or compulsory courses students need to learn. And the branches shows the professional courses for each program. Since we're running our first academic year, I'll just enlarge the circle to show you the first year courses more clearly. You can also see from the table that both in the first semester and the second semester, we have 4 courses taught in English, and only English for academic study is delivered by our English partner, which is online because of the COVID-19. And obviously, we faced many problems like the schedule problem, the internet problem, and so on. But actually, we did a survey about the teaching quality. Most students said that they could get much support from their teachers, whether in class or after class, and they already adapt to this by changing their own schedules. So at least so far, this teaching method of this course seems pretty okay for our students. However, there are still other 6 courses taught in English and delivered by HEU lecturers in the first academic year. For these courses, on the one hand, the courses syllabus and almost everything are newly co-designed by 2 universities and running for the first time. On the other hand, these courses are taught in English. It's kind of very challenging for our teachers. So we realized that the teaching quality of these courses may be more urgent and important to be evaluated. So we designed our quality evaluation project to ensure the quality of the new teaching method and the content, to give impetus to continuous quality improvement of JEI teaching from student perspective, to help teachers rethink and improve their teaching more profoundly and specifically, to stimulate the motivation of teachers to engage in JEI teaching quality improvement by relating the feedback results and the teacher's salary. So in the first semester, we designed an evaluation scale and did a survey for our students. In the left, you can see some indicators here. We focus on the teaching attitude, the teaching content, teaching method, and the teaching effect. Actually, the whole thing was quite simple. Like, we did an online survey at the end of the first semester, and 100% students were required to be involved in, and all the lecturers were evaluated. Then they got the scores, and the score scale was about 79 to 98, and then the result to some extent impact on the teacher's salary for that teaching period. Like, the teachers were ranked by the scores and were divided into 3 different levels: high, medium, and low. For the teachers getting higher scores, they got higher salary. For the teachers getting lower scores, they got lower salary, like this. No doubt that by doing this, we can find that some teachers are far more effective than others, but under this evaluation system, the teachers would only get 1 word of feedback, that is satisfactory. If we keep doing this, the teachers would have no hope of ever getting better. So this system maybe isn't fair to them. It seems not fair to our students. So the problems we conclude like this: only knowing the evaluation grade of students cannot tell which part should be improved. How the lecturers make better use of the routine student evaluation of teaching data. Only using one measurement to evaluate all the courses seems unfair to different types of courses. Are the indicators equally influential in their effects on students' overall rating of effectiveness? So with this questions, we designed the new evaluation tools, the new evaluation procedure, and the new evaluation scheme. And then you can see from this slide, in this semester, we implemented the midterm feedback, which involves the student feedback, peer review, and the feedback from our teaching supervision. And the feedback from the the students includes the quantitative method and the qualitative method. For the service, we have 128 students involved in, and for the focus group, we have at least 16 students involved in. Here, you can see the new evaluation tools we designed this semester after doing the literature review, consulting the education experts, the sociologists, and our teachers. This includes the lecture part, the seminar part, and the laboratory class part. For the lecture, you can see from the right part, this time we pay more attention to the teaching procedure, like whether the teachers have good logicality and coherence, whether the teachers use case study, whether they tailor their teaching method to each individual's situation, and so on. We still focus on the teaching effect, like whether the students know how to use the knowledge, whether they're stimulated for innovative and independent learning and critical thinking. And this time, the language requirement is also put in. The yellow part and the green part are for seminars and the laboratory classes. The evaluation tools are completely newly designed, and you can see that we not only evaluate the in-class parts, we also evaluate the before class part and the after class part. Here, I'll show you some quantitative results. In the left, it shows some indicators of teaching procedure and teaching effect of the lectures. For each indicator, we can say that over half of our students are very satisfied, but still about half students are not very satisfied. In the right, it shows the student engagement and the effective feedback of seminars. The situation is far more optimistic. Only about 37% students are very satisfied. Over 60% students are not very satisfied. There must be many reasons. Maybe they couldn't adapt to the new teaching method that varied from they used to be taught in the high school or else, but still this feedback very useful for teachers to adjust their teaching. Here you can see some specific feedback from the focus group, like for the lecture. Some students said that teachers should pay more attention to individual differences, students' academic needs and their performance. And they suggest that teachers could find multiple ways to explain an idea. And for the seminars, some students believed that the difficulty distribution of the seminar questions should be further designed, and the real complex engineering problems are not effectively combined, so they give the suggestions accordingly. And for the laboratory classes, some students said that there was insufficient demonstration of the experiment, so it is recommended that the teachers could record the demo video of operating the equipment and publish it in advance. From the focus group and interviews, indeed, the students provide many constructive suggestions for the teachers. Recently, we just finished the midterm feedback for physics module. These pictures were shot on the feedback meeting with physics teachers. The teachers in this program told us that this feedback and this service from the students were very helpful diagnostic tools because they pointed to specific places where they can improve going forward. And let's say the differences between the evaluation we done in the first semester and in the second semester. First, for the evaluation tools, we in the second semester, we designed 3 measurement skills for lecture, seminars, and the laboratory classes. We enriched the indicators and dimensions of the measurement skills. And for the evaluation method, we did quantitative method and qualitative method in the second semester, including survey, focus group, interview, and feedback meetings. For the student engagement, this time we insisted that this should be voluntarily and student-centered. For the evaluation result, this time we're not just directly link the results with the teacher's salary. We focus on the improvement. If they genuinely and effectively made the improvement, they will get higher salary accordingly. And for the evaluation procedure, we had 2 stages this time. We collected the feedback in the middle of the semester, and we checked the improvement at the end of the semester. And so that brings us to the summary. First, we looked at the midterm feedback scheme and the new evaluation tools of our teaching quality. The updated version is more welcomed by students and teachers, and is more effective than the last one we used in the first semester. Second, we looked at the quantitative and qualitative feedback provided by our students, which highlights that student-centered method is key for teachers to adjust their teaching. Third, we associated this with the key principle, continuous quality improvement of Washington Accord and Chinese engineering education accreditation, which paves the way to teaching quality improvement of JEI courses. Finally, our students are excited about and have faith in the continuous quality improvement of JEI teaching. Although we made progress in this semester, we understand that we still have more work to do. The impact for the teachers would be phenomenal. And last but not least, we have a little suggestion for our meeting. We believe that this is a very valuable opportunity for all the joint institutes to share their experience. But some of our teachers are more interested in how the Chinese courses fit with the British courses and the teaching details. So we assumed that maybe it would be more compelling if we can add on a meeting theme like localization of British higher education system or something like that. That would be very helpful. Okay, and we are a new joint educational institute. Maybe some of you have done similar work before. So we very much appreciate any suggestion, and our information is on this slide. Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you for the very informative talk. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Xiaoxiao Ren? Oh, Melanie, you have one, and then John.
I have a question about linking teacher salary to evaluation results, because there has been studies in other places that showed that student evaluations are very much prone to implicit biases about sex, for instance, or gender or race or things like that. So is there a risk here of linking teacher salaries to a biased measurement?
Well, actually, the teachers that are hired by other colleagues and the teachers are not directly hired by our institute. So we just pay the teaching fees for the teachers after they finish their teaching in our institute. And we can decide how much and the degrees of their salary for
what I mean is if students have an implicit bias, for instance, against women and rate female teachers therefore lower than male teachers, then you're going to reflect that in the salary scale, even though that is a prejudice maybe that students have, right? Do you see that could be, have you seen this to be a problem? Have you done? Have you looked at the characteristics of higher rated teachers and lower rated teachers to make sure that that's not happening?
Yes, actually, at the very first, we have told the teachers that we will link their salary with the results, and they know that we will do this, so they're okay with this.
Okay, thank you.
John Menzies, is it?
Thanks, Christine. I thought it was interesting to see how you changed the type of evaluations you were doing from first into second semester. You were doing much more in-depth evaluations of students' opinions and thoughts in the second semester. The question I wanted to ask was, one of the pieces of feedback you got from students is that they wanted teachers to pay attention to individual differences within the student group. I think that's really important in terms of equality and inclusion and so on. But can you explain more about what kind of individual differences were students referring to? Do you know that? And how did they want staff to recognize individual differences in students?
Well, I just take physics, for example. The students will attend the seminar parts, and for the seminar parts, the lecturers will design different questions. And for most students, they think that the questions is too difficult, actually. And some students, of course, they think the questions, the difficulty of the questions is okay for them, but others think that's too difficult. So they hope the teachers could adjust the difficulty. Maybe the teachers can divide the seminar classes into different levels, like A class, they will solve the more difficult problems. And for the B class, they will see the medium difficult problems and so on. And the students just want the teachers to adjust their difficulty or teaching method according to their needs, I think.
I think it's always an interesting challenge, because in a group of students you have some that can perform well, that are able to push forward faster or further than other students.
Yes.
I wonder whether, just a comment really, whether separating the class might be problematic. You know, can students, if there's two streams, two separate classes, can students move between them, or are they placed in one, and would they have to stay there, for instance? It's a difficult problem to address, to how to solve these kind of individual differences, and I'm not sure I have a good idea of how to do it. But separating into different groups, I don't know, maybe that could be problematic as well. Or just a comment, not necessarily a question.
Okay. Yes, sure. It's very difficult for the teachers to adjust their teaching. And yes, the teachers receive this feedback and they're trying to solve this, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Jay Mura, is that Joanna?
Hi, Christine, it's me. Apologies again that I'm not able to use my video. It seems to crash any online meeting if I use my video, so apologies for that. I just wanted to follow up something that Melanie was asking about with linking the teachers, the feedback that the teachers had to their salary. I mean, one of the worries with that is that it's quite often teachers who are rated as being better are more popular. They're giving the students what the students think they want, rather than what the students actually need. It's part of your evaluation, looking at teasing that out a bit more.
Okay, I think in the first semester, we just directly link their wage to the results. So we think it's not reasonable. So in the second semester, we collected the feedback from the student and the peer review and the teaching supervision, and we integrated into a report and handed over it to the teacher, and the teacher will have a meeting with us, and we will have a common sense. And maybe the teacher said we have 10 aspects that we need to improve. Okay, I will record this, and at the end of the semester, we will check whether the teachers can do what they said that they can improve. This is the adjustment that we did in this time.
I think the adjustment's really commendable, and it's great practice that we should all be trying to make sure that we're doing all the time. In the second semester, though, did you still link the teacher's salary to this combined feedback?
Yes, not directly, but it's still the feedback will not directly link their salary. We will only measure the improvement they're genuinely changed and they did. Like after we did this midterm feedback, we have 10 aspects that the teachers agreed to improve or agreed to change. And at the end of the semester, we check whether these 10 aspects have been improved or has been changed. And we will decide their salary according to these 10 aspects.
Okay, thank you. That's really interesting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
David, I think you have a question.
Yes.
And then there's a question from Lorianne in the chat after.
Okay, thank you very much, Christine. A really interesting presentation, and I'm quite looking at the comparison you've done between the Chinese education system or approach and the UK one is quite enlightening. Can I ask, in terms of the modules that you've been teaching, what have you done in designing those modules? Are you combining the two systems, or you are following the UK system? That is the first part. And the second part is with regards to the lecturers that you are using. You've mentioned that they are recruited through a separate entity. I would be quite interested in knowing whether that is the approach you are going to use going forward, or it is going to change at some point. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, we're going to combine, we want to localize the British system. So we're kind of design our modules according to the UK system and the Chinese version. So basically we're running our first academic year. It's very difficult to us. So we're still working on how to design our program the syllabus of our modules. So basically we can say that we want to combine both, but we're still working on it. And for the lectures, we're currently hiring the teachers from our from other college to teach our students. And these teachers will only teach the first year. Like we're running our first academic year, and this is the foundation year. And there are 6 courses, and these 6 courses, we hired these teachers. And in the second semester, second academic year, and going forward, the teachers will change because the courses will mainly delivered by the University of Southampton. So the teachers will change in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then I think Lorianne has a question in the chat. She says, interesting presentation, thank you. Therefore, is streaming students according to level of physics or English something you may be considering?
Hi, sorry, Xiaoxiao.
Yes.
I didn't want to put you on the. Just would you? So, is it something you would consider doing, putting students into different groups according to their level, or would you prefer to have mixed levels? Because I understand that usually at Chinese universities you do not stream students. Is that right?
So
Put them into different levels, groups.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear clearly.
Hi, so sorry. Would you consider? Because obviously I'm part of the English team from the University of Southampton, so we could talk about this later. I was just wondering if you would consider, if it's something you tend to do, put students into different levels of groups according to their ability and their, exam results or test results, or would you prefer to keep students mixed within their groups, within their?
Actually, for the English, for the other courses that we're using the different groups, which we choose the examination scores. Like before we divided them into different groups, we will hold an examination, and after they got their scores, we will divide them into different. Basically based on their ability and their scores.
Okay, right. So they're already in different groups according to ability.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there any more questions? For Dr. Dagua?
Hi, yeah, thanks, Dr. Ren, for your very informative presentation. Can I just ask, from your foundation year to part one or the second year, what is your progression requirement for English or academic English? Do you have this a hurdle there? Between the foundation year and going to part one?
Do you mean the GOPO examination scores?
No, there's a GOCO is for entry to your joint institute. Obviously, I can see you got high quality students, yeah. But from because of the foundation year is a foundation year.
Yes.
Moving on from a foundation year to the second year, you would call the second year in the UK would be called part one, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes. So do you have a progression requirement from a foundation year to the second year in terms of English or academic language?
Yes, there will be a requirement for the students. Only if the students can pass the English course delivered by the University of Southampton, that is called the English for Academic Studies, the students can enter the second academic year.
The EAP, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so the test is by Southampton, yeah?
Yes.
Right, so it's a Southampton's own test, I guess. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Going once, going twice. Okay. Then thank you a lot, Dr. Xiaoxiao Ren. That's
Okay.
a very awesome talk. And I hope that your next year will go well too. Looks like your
Thank
first
you.
year is kind of busy.
Thank you.
Is that, are you waving a hand, Dr. Dagwa, or?
I think that's a clap.
Oh, that's a clap. Okay.